What's up, explorers? Christopher J. Wesley here. There's this old story, and I forget the name of it. It's but the one thing I can't forget is these two guys. They kidnap this child, and the goal, of course, is to ransom the kid. And so they take the kid, and they got him holed up in this place where the parents would never find them. And over the course of them holding this child hostage, the child is so bad that after sending the parents the ransom note, within a short while, a day or two, the criminals just decide that you know we just want you to take the kid back. At which point the parent says, okay, well, for this much money, I'll take my child back. And in some ways, and I've talked a lot about like the abuse I suffered and all of that stuff, but the other side to that coin is I was blessed with being a willful child. I was lucky enough that even at a young age, just because someone had age on me or was technically should have authority over me, I didn't always recognize that authority. And to that idea is where the canvas comes from for this week. This is called Saxon, the Ghost of Hope. The name, of course, plays on the term Saxon, and even though the person in the image is black, and the Ghost of Hope being that sometimes hope has to be found in it almost feels like a specter. It's like not a real thing. It's not tangible. It's something that you can kind of envision, but you can't really touch it. And luckily for me, I was able to find hope in a lot of ways that was very troublesome to my parents. In some ways, I did imagine that if I were to ever get kidnapped, they would probably have to the kidnappers would probably have to pay my parents to take me back. Uh, a couple instances, uh, like most children, when we were in church, I was restless, like from forever. I was one of those rambunctious children, would never stop running. And so sitting down in church, listening to the sermon and all that stuff, I was always fidgeting, always moving. And my mom would pinch me, but she never really had strong hands. So, I mean, it was kind of irritating, but it wasn't really painful enough to encourage me to stop. One Sunday in particular, my mom gave me, she pinched me, and I complained. I'm bored. Asked her for a piece of paper and a pen. To shut me up, she gave me what I asked for, and she resumed listening to the sermon while I did my little drawing. And it took her a while. She was really engaged with the sermon, so I was pretty well done with my drawing by the time she looked down to see what it was I was making. And at which point, when she did look down, she very quickly snatched the paper out of my hands and took the pen back, and she crumpled the paper and put it in her purse. Because what I had drawn, I'd say at that point I was probably about sixth grade, maybe seventh, um, understanding where I was and who was around me. I purposefully drew a man with a sword in one hand and standing over a body that was on the ground. And the body on the ground was missing its head because in the standing guy's other hand was the person's head. It was those types of rebellions that, in my mind, in my pre-adolescent mind, was sending a message to them that regardless of whatever it was they were trying to do to me, that they would never break me. And I was probably somewhere between 14 and 16 before I actually vocalized that. I'd gotten in trouble for something, and my mom was railing on me about it, and I said the words that you're not strong enough to break me. And I think it's that quality that so many of us, I don't know, I want to say that to a large degree, society frowns upon that kind of behavior, but depending on where you're coming from, it is absolutely necessary to survive. Because without it, it becomes too easy to be the victim. And I don't want to get into the whole, well, no, I will. So that I feel is part of the problem right now with so many people adopting the victimhood role in life instead of empowering themselves however they can. I mean, when I was a child, I had to depend on my parents for food and shelter and the whole nine, but they still were only able to control me just so much. And despite all the abuses and punishments and all that stuff, they were never actually able to tame me. And that's something that I was able to carry on through life, through abusive bosses and situations with bullies and stuff like that. There was always that sense of, well, my parents couldn't break me when I had to depend on them for food and shelter. There's not really much a person can do. I've taken the beatings. I've been through all kinds of stuff. So it's I'm not necessarily scared the way some people would be. And I feel like if we start encouraging people to stand up for themselves in whatever way they can, it wouldn't solve everything, but it would solve some things. At a minimum, it would empower people, if for nothing else, to get through the day. And as short as this is, that is all I have for you today. This has been some kind of week, and my thoughts are very scattered, but it was important to show up anyhow, regardless. And this is me doing that. In its own way. It's part of it kind of fits the theme of holding on to hope, even when it feels like a specter. So I'm signing off for today, and I will be dark next week as I am going on vacation, and I will catch up with you in 2 weeks and be better prepared.